Hi.
Hello and welcome to Knock Knock Hi with the Glaucomfleckens. Is that no?
That was very
Too
aggressive.
Much? I'm Dr. Glaucomflecken, also known as Will Flannery.
I am Kristen Flannery, also known as Lady Glaucomflecken.
You gotta find a nice balance, right? Get not too high, not too low.
Right, you have to find a good radio voice.
You know what? At first, when we were doing this, our producers, it's like, you gotta be energetic and excited. You know how hard that is for me sometimes. But sometimes I overdo it. All right, did I overdo that one?
You seem a little bit. Are you drunk?
I'm not.
Okay,
not at all.
Just checking.
I'm just happy because we're talking to one of my closest friends and med school classmates, Dr. Molly Taylor. She is a pediatric oncologist and researcher at Seattle Children's and the University of Washington. Just all around fantastic human being.
Yes.
Also, she's super really cool and confident and just like she never seemed in med school, at least, and even now.
Anytime. I've never seen her like flustered.
Never seemed stressed.
Yeah.
And like learning the Krebs cycles, like whatever, it's fine. Like it'll all work itself out kind of attitude.
Yeah, right.
It's like, man, how does someone do that?
Right. And also,
it's not fair.
She's very funny.
She's extremely funny. Yeah. In fact, we didn't talk about this, but I know that she has dabbled in stand-up comedy a little bit. So
perhaps inspired by you. I don't know who came first with the stand-up.
Don't give me too much credit about any of this stuff. But she after med school, we went in our separate ways, and she went into pediatrics. I went into ophthalmology, but we ended up in the same region of the country, so we get to see her from time to time, which is nice.
Yep, they're just a drive up the interstate from us, so that's really nice. Our kids have played together now, and it's all super cool. She married another person from your med school class.
That's right. Which is a very common thing to happen in med school classes.
Yes. You guys had like a really tight-knit group of friends. And
we did.
You both are part of that group. But there's so many other people we could have.
A lot of people marry each other in med school.
Yes. Yeah. Especially when your med school is small and in the middle of nowhere in the woods.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Dartmouth.
There's not a lot of other choices.
Hanover, New Hampshire, a population of like 1,000 people.
I don't even know.
But then they have Dartmouth College right there, which is like 4,000. And then you have the Grad School, which is like another 4,000.
Someone's going to have to fact check this. He really doesn't know these numbers.
I'm just making all of this up. I just know it's small. It's very, very small.
Very small. And you get to know each other very well. And there's not a lot to do. And so it's very, very cold.
Now, we say not a lot to do. Keep in mind, we are city folk.
Yeah.
Big time. And so not a lot to do. If you ask someone...
I don't know. I came from the middle of nowhere, Texas. Then I went to Lubbock, Texas. Then I went to Hanover, New Hampshire. So I feel like I am qualified to say.
But if you're asking someone, I'm talking about asking someone who like enjoys being outside and like camping.
That's fair. Yes. There are abundant outdoor activities
to do. Or
if
you like snow.
If you like cross-country skiing, hiking,
but this isn't a commercial
like that.
for New Hampshire.
It's really not. Also, you were in med school, didn't have time to do those things. So.
That's true. But still, we talk a lot about our experiences, our stories, and just kind of scratch the surface. But we had a lot of fun, have a lot of good memories. So should we get to it?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Here is Dr. Molly Taylor. Well, we are here with one of my favorite people in the world, Molly Taylor. Thank you so much.
Dr. Molly Taylor.
Oh, well, I'm not used to calling you Dr. Taylor. You're just Molly to me.
Not today.
I think it's great because, most guests, whenever we have them come on, they have just all these books in the background or just, beautiful artwork. Sometimes just a whole bunch of credentials on the wall behind them. So thank you for just having a blank wall. That's
it's really it's what the people need to see about what it's really like in academia. Okay.
She does have the whiteboard. That's pretty ubiquitous.
That's right.
That's true. You have a whiteboard back there.
With a lot of things I haven't done. Yep.
There you go. It's your to-do list. You know what? I never thought that you would go the academic route. I really wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I was surprised too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not surprised. Like, I mean, that makes it sound like we're insulting her. You are certainly intelligent enough. Just
It's like a Missouri, like backhanded, like, wow.
yeah, exactly.
Like, you got
Well,
your
good
hair
for you.
cut?
Bless
Yeah,
your
bless
heart.
your heart. Yeah, exactly.
You're just so you have a personality that's just so like easy.
Active.
Yeah, and easy to interact with, is like perfect for the field that you ended up in, which is
Right.
pediatric oncology, which is also one of the characters I haven't had yet in
I
my
was
my
about to say
skits.
something. Yeah, that might be dangerous waters to tread, but
Yeah, I don't know a lot of I don't know how to do that. I
How
don't
to
know.
make that funny.
you know what? It's high risk, high
Yeah,
reward,
that's right.
Yeah.
maybe. So I
But
can help
are
you.
you in one of the largest places in the country for pediatric oncology? Is that
Yeah, we're a big program. So I'm in Seattle, and as part of being in Seattle, so our catchment area is really big. So it's a pretty big program. Yeah,
you get like Idaho and
we get
Mo-
Idaho.
what are the states up there?
Oh my
Yeah, what
gosh.
does
You know,
WAMI
we live in
stand for?
Oregon. We're right
What are
We're
here.
actually
what are
not
the things?
that far. This isn't a
Jeez.
geography show, right?
Clearly not.
Yeah.
Well, I knew. So one thing I guess I was thinking about, and I've never asked you about, is when exactly did you choose pediatrics? Because I know that if pediatrics wasn't going to work out, you would have ended up in ophthalmology.
Right. Well, actually, you know what? I have a little data about that.
Of course. Ever the
Um,
researcher then.
That's right.
Do you remember that we did a time capsule for what people's specialties were going to be back in the day?
Oh my God, I do. I vaguely
Uh,
remember that. Yes.
So I had Greg.
Wait, when did we do this? When did we do
We
this?
did it, I think, first year of med school, where we
First
had
year,
people
Oh,
sort of
boy.
like, as soon as you felt people out what their personalities would be, then we had people
That's
vet.
right.
Wait. So this was not like a class activity. This was just like you two?
Well,
This is
no,
like a group of us, probably.
yeah,
Right?
there was
Yeah.
a
Okay.
hefty group. And I have that time capsule. If you want to know what people voted for you, and then I
Oh
could
my
tell
God.
people voted for me. Let's,
Yes, please.
Was
Let's-
internet comedian ophthalmologist on the list?
let's
probably not.
see, Dr. Flannery. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Okay, where is F in the alphabet?
We don't know states. We don't know our alphabet.
So-
This is what happens when you subspecialize.
She's in research, everyone.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so here are the votes for you.
okay.
Diagnostic radiology,
That checks
otolaryngology,
out.
internal medicine,
Otolaryngology.
ophthalmology, internal medicine, and then a string of like 6 ophthalmologies. So I feel like maybe people
Okay.
were cheating on
Ah.
each other. TikTok sensation, radiology, and internal medicine.
Amazing.
Someone predicted
a
the
whole-
existence of TikTok.
A whole
Wow.
like 8 years before TikTok existed. What about you? What about
and
you?
So you know what? I actually don't know how to feel about this, but people, family medicine, public
Okay.
health, which is just like maybe not being a doctor.
Was- I don't.
Internal medicine, pediatrics, urology, and then a
Oh.
lot of family medicines and psychiatry.
Okay.
Okay. You're,
So with both of you, there was
Yeah.
something even from the beginning that was like sort of in the right direction.
What
Yeah.
tipped people off to me being an ophthalmologist?
Don't know. That's
That
surprising.
otolaryngology, I mean, I would never specialize in the second, third, and fourth most important human senses.
Like,
Well,
who does the grossest surgeries? Yeah, Will will do that.
Yeah.
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 Terrible.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't remember family medicine first year. That makes sense. That's what people may have pegged you for.
mhm.
Always like some sort of like kid thing, right? Like it's in the mix.
Yeah, I think I was
I think
goofy.
it's yeah. Yeah.
Just say
Well,
it.
and you
just say it.
babysat. No. You babysat like all the faculty's children.
I did.
That's true.
Including yours.
So I feel like that. Well, yeah, we weren't faculty,
By the
but
way,
you were our baby.
for any med students listening, like there's a little like racket you can really start doing, and this is great. Molly would get in good with all these different faculty
Mm-hmm.
that they're all like later career, mid career, later career, so they've got a lot of money and they've got nice houses,
Mm-hmm.
and Molly is very personable and would get to the point where she could house sit.
Yeah, house sit, babysit, pet sit, water
Yeah.
your plants.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Any of
basically,
those.
you'd get to escape the squalor of your normal life,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
As a med student, and
Exactly.
you get to live large in these giant houses.
And then
Yeah.
invite your friends over. Be like, where are you living
Yeah.
tonight? Molly, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see
You
what
did
we
that all the
got.
time. I was so jealous of that, but
Yeah.
I was never able to make friends that easily. So
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is why people pegged you for diagnostic radiologist.
it's probably
Alone
true.
in a dark room. Mhm.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be a good fit for Will. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna
You know what? It's a light room, but you did end up being alone in a room.
That's
most of
true.
your
Just recording
career.
myself alone by myself. Well, we're gonna get to some med school stories for sure. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about your experience in resident and just training during residency fellowship, because you decided you wanted to be like training for
Ever.
ever.
Mhm.
Because the thing that happens is we're all so close in med school, and like we spend all this time together, and then we leave and we just never talk to each other for like a decade.
Until you're on
Right,
somebody's
that-
podcast. You're like, oh,
Right,
yeah,
until
it's good to see you.
exactly.
I remember you.
And it's because we're all in different parts of the country, and also insanely busy,
Right.
trying to put our careers together
And start families
and we start
at the
families,
same
and
time.
it's just med school is such a unique time because some people are married and they come in or attached to people. And, but for the most part, like, where it's kind of an extension of college in a lot of ways, but residency and fellowship and our early years, in our big grown up jobs, is totally different. So I haven't gotten to hear a whole lot of stories about you from your kind of residency intern years. You shared a couple of them with us.
Well, she
One of them-
disappeared to Alaska, right?
That's
Well, that
right.
was-
At some point.
That's
that
the
was-
best
that
way
was-
to lose touch with people.
Yeah, just go to Alaska
Where
for a
can I
while.
go? Yeah.
That was after she was in.
That was after
that was
residency?
after residency,
Okay.
right?
See, I'm just proving your point. You're like, I don't know where that
I
person lives
dabble.
anymore.
You guys are both right, which I feel like is something I'm going to say a lot during this podcast. You both are right. Yes.
There you go.
But
Tell us about your intern year. You got a couple good ones here.
yeah, well, we actually remember we were in the same city for our intern years. We were in Chicago.
that's right.
no.
Oh, that's right.
You remember
Yes.
that?
Yes, I do.
Different parts of town, but you were also
That's right.
being like a surgeon during that year, so that was hard.
Yeah, and we had a 1-year-old at that time
My
in that year.
my intern year.
hmm
What was busy was that we had a 1-year-old, and I was living
Like an hour and a half away.
outside of the city.
Yeah.
But no, my intern year was you could barely call it
Tell
an intern
people
year.
how you got. What was your commute that year?
Oh yeah, my commute. So this is in Chicago, and there's a town called Crystal Lake, which is as far as the commuter train will go for the most part,
Mhm.
out northwest.
The hospital is downtown, though, right?
Well, not
Chicago.
almost, but
like
anyway,
in Chicago
we didn't
proper.
live in Crystal Lake. We lived in McHenry, which was about a 20-minute drive beyond Crystal Lake. So
It's
I
like
would-
the last suburb before the farm.
Mm,
So-
mhm.
So at 4:00 in the morning every day, I would drive to the Crystal Lake train station. I would take the train. So it's
So car to train.
car to train. And then at the train station, I had to get off there. I left a bike, like a really, like a
Like a crappy bike that no one
$50
would steal.
Schwinn, like from like the 1980s.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
left it at the bike rack there, and then I would ride my bike 1.5 miles to the hospital.
Uh-huh. Like paving
We-
the snow out of the way.
Yes, yes.
Well,
and he did it all winter
I
in
did.
Chicago.
I did it all winter. So a couple times, some like people felt sorry for me. They offered me like a 6'4" dude. Like they felt so bad that they offered me a ride. It's a stranger they didn't know. I was very fortunate for that. Saved my life probably a couple times. But and so that was my commute every day, and we did it all just to save money.
A few bucks, yeah.
Well, I mean, we saved a lot of money,
Mhm.
but
Oh, you mean we lived so far
That's
away?
why we
Yes,
did it.
we lived with my parents for that
Yeah.
year.
That's
so
why we were out there.
Yes.
Well, I
That's a
also
good-
lived with family in Chicago, but they were like in the city. You remember I would wake
yeah, let's not
Yes.
talk about that's how.
Yeah.
You had a much nicer little
Well,
setup
yeah.
than,
like wake
than,
up to like
than we
a
did.
4 course breakfast, like
Yeah.
neck massage when I got home. Like, we were much closer to my hospital, so I did not walk
That's right.
uphill both ways. Yeah, I think
But I
we
know,
intersected
so we
a little
were,
bit.
yes, we intersected a little bit. We saw each other maybe once or twice, but for the most part, we might
was
as
a
well have
busy
been in
year
different
for
parts of the country.
Yeah.
And just like everybody who goes through medical training, we all had our embarrassing moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Intern year, learning how to, be an independent doctor.
Uh-huh.
So give me one of those.
Oh, so many. But I feel like the field of pediatrics is just like there should be like people who specialize before they have children and people who specialize after they have children. Because I heard like the number of times that I would like quote something to parents that I had like read in a book the day before that is so
Mhm.
wildly different from what it's like in real life. Like just so many of those that I have now learned the hard way with the 2 kids. But I remember distinctly also like I'm like kind of a warm person. I really want like I give a lot of people hugs. And so when I was in the newborn nursery, which is, a place for, term babies who don't have any medical problems, but you just go, check their bilirubin, make sure that their, belly button looks good, like whatever else you do. I forget.
Give a little boop on the belly button.
Exactly. Yeah,
You lose a lot of knowledge being in research, obviously. It kind of goes quick, doesn't it, Molly?
What else happens? Look for coarct. I remember that,
Yep.
those sorts of things. But I also loved just helping these new parents sort of get acclimated to their new baby. And I remember one time, and asterisk, in my defense, it was very dark in those rooms. But I went into a postpartum room. I had the baby who had been in the nursery and just kind of tapped the mom on the shoulder. And I was like, hey, here's your baby. And she looked at me and looked at the baby and she was like, oh, no, I can't. And I was like, oh, I can help you. I have been a doctor for 6 weeks. Here, let me show you how to hold the baby. People get nervous. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, she looked at me and looked at the baby and she was like, I'm sorry. I can't. And I even went as far to be like, here, I'll put the baby in your arms. And then eventually she was like, that's not my baby. And then I looked at her.
Crazy doctors. What are you doing?
I looked at the baby's name band. I looked at her name band. And I was like, you are right. I will be right back. So that's lesson number 1. Make sure it is the correct baby. And then you can work on, latching.
I
and
love it.
Bonding with that
Exactly.
baby.
Exactly. We run a different kind of nursery here. Everybody kind of takes turns.
That's when you look at that mom and be like,
It takes a village.
It takes a village. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
And this is in the University of Chicago.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
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 That's good. It's the awkwardness. The awkwardness is so fun to like in the moment it's frightening, right? It's like, oh my God, who let me become a doctor kind
Yeah.
of
Uh-huh.
thinking. Um, but it's those awkward stories that are great. I remember when I was a resident, we had med students come through the ophthalmology department, and we were in pediatrics, and there was a med student who was clearly very, very nervous to like be there. Kids are scary enough, whenever you haven't interacted with a lot of kids, but then kid eyeballs, it's like two things that no one knows anything about.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like this really nervous med student, came into the room, and I said, "Oh, this is this is our med student. I forgot his name." And he is just, in his little nervous voice, he went up to the 4-year-old and said, "Hello, sir. How are you?" and tried to shake the 4-year-old's hand. Oh,
Uh-huh.
and that one of my favorite moments
Hello, sir.
from my time. Hello,
Uh-huh.
hello, sir.
Yeah.
How often does that work? Is that how you're introducing yourself?
To the newborns?
Exactly. I
Good
keep
morning,
it
ma'am.
very formal. That's how they
Very
respond
important.
best. I mean, it's like, it's so fun. Like pediatrics is so fun, especially because you get to, like enjoy all of the different developmental
Yeah.
stages and like, the like like the 3, 4, 5-year-old age where they're starting to become verbal and really like let you into like what kind of crazy ideas are going on in there. There was also, when I was in clinic as an intern, another very humbling moment, where a mom brought her 3-year-old in, and she was just like, "I don't know, I think he's got a urinary tract infection." He is just, like, pulling at his diaper, pulling at his underwear, saying, "It hurts, it really, really hurts." And I was like, "Okay, well, this is something maybe I could, we can get a UA, we can, like, really sort this out." Uh, and then the the 3-year-old, after I was like, "Hello, sir, what seems to be the problem here?" And he just looks at me and his mom, he goes, "I don't know, but it kind of feels like I got a bone in there." We looked at each other. We're like, mystery solved." And she was like,
Oh,
"That'll be all
no.
today." Thank you.
What is the billing
Wow.
code for that
Yeah,
situation?
seriously.
Yeah.
What's the diagnostic code for that one?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's great. And then also adolescence. Like there's
Mm.
probably, I'm sure you have so many like, funny, quirky, unique stories from your time there. And you do
Just having to navigate that,
yeah,
like
exactly.
this patient feels very awkward because they are awkward right
Yeah.
now. We all are. And now
Yeah.
I feel awkward because I have to talk about these awkward things with this person.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I want you to share the story that you told us about this this little young adolescent child.
I I do love adolescents for like the reason that you said. Like they're so endearing and so awkward, and like they really just sort of bring out your own like sense of awkwardness. But a lot of what I do in my current job is talk about fertility preservation for teenagers before we're going to start any kind of cancer treatment. Um, and we have a wonderful AYA program, and so I think that there's a lot more focus on fertility preservation than there used to be. But back in
What is AYA? Can you tell people what AYA?
adolescent and young adult, sorry, yeah. So kids, teenagers 15 to 39 who get diagnosed with cancer. And so now you know
Yeah,
something about
me.
that.
I'm one of those.
Hey, you're
That's right.
that guy.
A little older. You wouldn't have treated me though
No.
as
I
a
could have,
pediatrician.
but
That would have been
You could have.
awkward
But I-
in medical school if she had asked you about your fertility preservation options.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir.
Yes. Uh, but these conversations about fertility preservation are super important, as you guys know. And also, usually there's like
Little awkward.
some element of awkwardness. And so,
Yes.
when they would send people in on their own to do this without our oncofertility program, they would just sort of be like, "Hey, we're going to talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll a little bit. And I know that you're 12. And so the idea of having kids is really gross to you right now, but we need to talk about it. And then for boys, we talk about, sperm banking. And a prerequisite for sperm banking is being able to ejaculate normally. And, despite the number of kids who are like, yeah, I could do that. Uh, but like sometimes things don't go perfectly to plan. Like
I
we
can imagine.
had I think he was 15, who was very confident, overconfident in his ability to bank sperm. And he just sort of like coyly handed over his urine specimen cup, which was actually full of urine and not semen.
Oh,
I'm sorry, bud.
that's what he. That was his understanding.
Yeah.
So let's back
you
up.
have-
Let's talk
Yeah.
about the
You
birth.
really have
please.
to be direct about what you mean.
Oh
And-
yeah.
And I had another patient who was sent to sperm bank with a Foley catheter still in place. And
Ah,
he had some
okay.
questions.
That's right.
I would imagine.
but-
As he should.
Exactly. He was like,
Oh
this
man.
is probably advanced sperm banking or something.
Some newfangled way to do this. No,
Exactly. Nope, it's
a-
just
Just a
you need to
noopsie daisy.
gotta get that out.
Oh, man.
So
yeah, I gotta say, sperm banking was one of the more interesting experiences
Yeah.
that I've had as a patient. Well,
Well, yours was under unusual circumstances, I feel like.
Well, when I did it, so I was in residency, and like I literally I left work, which our clinic was connected to the hospital. So I finished morning clinic. I walked like 3 departments down the hall, and I banked sperm, and then went
Over
back,
lunch.
Yeah.
and then went back to work, which really just threw off my day. It was
Right.
very.
Right.
This is a very strange experience.
Yep.
Take the day off from work if you're gonna be doing that kind of thing. But what I didn't realize was it's like you have decisions you have to make, because this might be your only genetic material that you have left in the world. And so I like all the forms you sign. It was like, do you want to split your sperm sample into 2 different samples and put them on 2 different trucks?
To get
That's-
to the
Ah.
freezer
to
or
the
whatever.
freezer.
Yeah.
Because
in
it's
case an
like
accident happens or something.
yeah, it's like
It's like, British royalty. They can't travel together in case the plane goes down.
just in case the sperm truck turns over, rolls over, and there's
What
a
a
big sperm
disaster
accident
that
on the
would be,
highway.
right? That would make the news, I think.
It
Probably
would.
would.
And so it's like those weird decisions. And then
Yeah.
I don't know, there's so much about it that I think is so funny and fascinating. Like to destroy the sample. Do you know what you got to do, Molly, to destroy a sample? You have to get a form notarized, which means I had to go to like FedEx, and like me and this poor FedEx worker, we had to both
Got very close.
sign my sperm destruction
Listen, guy,
form.
here's the deal.
A lot of power in those FedEx
Oh, man.
workers. Yeah.
Well, I can't
Hello, sir.
I can't think of a better person to have those types of conversations with than you, Molly. I think
the key
you bring a
is-
little levity to it.
Yeah, the key is actually you have to turn your chair around backwards and sit on it to have that.
That is a little more
That's
informal.
Right, totally. That's how you really. Yeah.
Like,
That's
we're
good.
casual,
Mhm.
we're cool.
Super
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, let's take a short break, and we'll come back and let's talk med school. So I'll be right back with Dr. Molly Taylor. Hey, Kristen, what do you got there?
Oh, this? Oh, well, you may not know this as an ophthalmologist, but this is called a stethoscope.
Yeah, I know what a stethoscope is. I also know it's supposed to go in your ears and not sitting on top of your headphones.
No, I like it better this way. Besides, this is not just any stethoscope. This is the Echo Core 500 digital stethoscope with 3-lead ECG.
I've heard about these things.
Yeah.
40 times noise amplification,
That's right.
noise cancellation,
Mhm.
3 audio filter modes,
Know it.
and a full color display.
Yeah, buddy.
60 hours of battery life, too.
That's right.
Everybody loves a good battery life, and it's durable.
That's right.
Awesome. We have a special offer for our audience here in the US. Learn more at ecohealth.com/KKH. That's ekohealth.com/KKH and use code KNOCK50 for a 75-day risk-free trial and a free case and free shipping to the continental US to get your Core 500 stethoscope. Kristen, do you remember when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life after training?
I do.
Eventually, I decided on private practice, and it was the best decision I have ever made.
Hey,
Okay, Glaucomflecken was probably the first.
very funny.
But it's really hard to start your own private practice.
It is, especially in today's world.
And that's why Independent Practice Partners is there. They want to help you start your own practice, and they will ensure that your practice doesn't just survive, but thrives. To find out more, go to ipracticepartners.com. Again, that's the letter I, practicepartners.com. All right, we are back with Dr. Molly Taylor, and we've already mentioned that we met in med school, first year med school, which was in 2008. And how old were we? Were what, 20? You're a year older than me, so you're
well, so am I.
yeah,
You
23,
were
24.
We were 23.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
So babies.
Yeah, so young,
Yeah.
and
Still full of hope and optimism for the future.
Yeah.
and so there's just so many stories that we could talk about. We're gonna get to some of those when we play this game that I have devised for us here in a second. But one thing in particular that I think you thought was interesting and fun was when we started learning things about all of our classmates, right? I remember this. We were in the lecture hall and we had somebody come. It basically was just like he had like all of our applications and just chose like 2 things about each person.
Well, because you guys had kind of a smaller class, right? So you could do something like that. Like if you're in a 300 people class or something, that would take forever.
Yeah, our
but
class
yours
was like 70 people.
Yeah.
So it was small.
Yeah.
It was a small class. It really helped us get to know each other. But do you remember at all like what your things were?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I remember him reading out this like list of accomplishments, and you like look around, you're like, oh, who's that person who's like super awesome? And sometimes they'd be like, and this person like was a world record cannoli eater, and like, which I think is a real one.
It's like we had opera singers. We had we had all kinds of an actor, like a professional actor, and
I forgot about all that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, somebody who rode his bike from like Florida to New Hampshire.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely.
To like
someone in my grad school
not because
class.
it's a hobby, just because he was like coming to school.
Yeah. He'd been in the military and he was like,
there.
and then I just carried my bike for the last 10 miles.
That's right.
Someone in my class hiked to grad school from
Really?
Georgia to New Hampshire because there was the Appalachian Trail, so
Yeah.
people would do that. So I bet that biker was.
Yeah.
Again, just because
something
we
like
had no money and no cars.
Yeah, exactly. Just got to get there somehow.
Mine was, I think, I had spoken at the UN, so they just threw that in there.
Fancy.
Yeah, and then so after reading all these amazing accomplishments, he got to me, which was I did stand-up comedy and played ultimate frisbee.
Yep.
Talk about imposter syndrome.
Activated.
I think mine's the only imposter syndrome
This
that's
one
warranted.
begged us to be here. His accomplishments include telling some jokes or something.
I really do think I was the last person admitted to our med school class.
No, for real. He
I really think I
really
was. I found out like 2 weeks before classes start.
Like,
that
hey, you,
I
get over here. Yeah.
was, we got an extra spot here.
Do you remember Student Doctor Network?
Yeah.
We were stalking Student Doctor Network to see because people would talk about where they got accepted and where they decided to go and all of these things. And so there was one person on there who had been accepted to your class at Dartmouth and was on the fence about that versus some other program.
And
so
you were like,
we were
go
just
somewhere else.
stalking this
Hey,
person.
Dartmouth sucks. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is the worst program
Don't
ever.
even think about it.
Yeah.
And then
So then they posted that they had decided not to go to Dartmouth. So, we didn't want to get our hopes up or anything, but we were like, oh my gosh. And then, I don't know, a
Like
couple
a
days
day
later or
later,
something, he
I got
got the
called.
call that he got the spot.
Because
Yeah.
you got in, you had already decided, Kristen, before.
Right.
So
Because
Yeah.
our application cycles didn't match up, and you
Yeah.
guys have to apply like way earlier
yeah.
than we do. So by the time he had applied, by the time I was applying to grad school, it was much later. So then he applied once we knew I was applying.
Yeah.
But by then, a lot of the spots had already been filled because
Yeah,
it was so
she's-
late in your cycle.
She's the reason I went to Dartmouth. Why the hell did you go there?
Okay,
You're
I'm
from
going to tell
Missouri?
you.
What are you
I'm
doing?
going to tell you
Never
exactly
thought about that.
why.
Yeah.
Two key features of Dartmouth. One was when I interviewed there, it was wintertime, and they have you stay with other students. And so I was like staying in this like log cabin, and somebody skied down the street into said log cabin and then made me a chocolate lava cake. And I was like, this is the kind of place I want to be. And then number two is,
Chocolate lava cake is like everywhere, right?
well, I did not know at the time. And then number two was, I could actually get around Hanover. Like,
Right.
I have
All 3 blocks of it.
horrible sense of direction, but I was like, I won't get lost here, and I'll eat some chocolate cake. So,
Just stay out of the woods.
sign me up.
Man,
Yeah.
see, sometimes it's that easy. Admissions directors just learn from this. All right,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of skiing into lava cake.
Yep.
You can get some high quality students.
Uh-huh.
Did you even do any skiing while we were there?
She did, yeah.
She did? Okay.
Yeah.
Right? I remember you
mean,
skiing,
Yeah,
snowboarding.
I definitely did.
Oh, yeah, you snowboarded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. There were definitely, people who came from warmer climates.
Yes,
You know,
I
like,
did not
I-
ski.
Our friend from Oklahoma who we took skiing, and he
Mhm.
went skiing in jeans.
Well, so did you.
I wasn't in jeans.
No?
I was in sweatpants.
Okay. Even worse.
Yeah,
More
No,
absorbent.
no.
exactly.
Sweatpants are slightly better.
Then you
I had
fall
more. I had more
down,
range of movement.
and just like coming down the hill and like.
I think they
frozen,
went down the
crispy
bunny
pants.
slope
Yeah.
one time.
Crispy-
Yeah.
crispy
And then they were
pants.
like, that was
Right.
good. We'll call it a day.
Yeah, I did it.
Your ski fell off, I think.
It did. I tried to get on the ski lift and both my skis fell off. So I was on the chair and then the chair behind me had my skis. I was like, how is this going to happen?
Just be like,
Anyway.
Texan. Sorry.
All right, let's I want to play this game. It's called Was It Helpful? Was it helpful? So what we're going to do, I came up with a list of things that we experienced in med school, and we are our only goal of the game is to determine, was that thing helpful?
Okay.
For your future
In-
careers.
in whatever respect you want to interpret that.
Okay.
Was that thing helpful? Okay, here's the first one. Our financial advisor throwing ramen packets at us during orientation. Was that helpful?
For me, no.
So just so everyone knows, this was an orientation lecture. He was asking like financial kinds of questions, and if you got the right answer, you were rewarded with a ramen packet as a lesson to always be eating ramen.
Yeah, what's the acronym there? ABER.
yeah, right.
ABER.
So that was not, I agree. That was not helpful. Now, just knowing that we were all about to go into extraordinary amounts of debt.
Correct. Although, like, maybe an alternative answer would be yes, it was helpful because it gave you some material, right? It gave you some comedic
Well, that's true.
material.
Also a meal.
It gave you a meal.
Right.
too, yes.
Exactly. It's also, a very effective way to raise your blood pressure. So if you need that.
So we're 10 years. How are you doing on loans? How's it going?
Oh, okay.
You're managing? You're getting by?
Well, we're very close to like the 10-year, like,
Oh, you're doing the forgiveness?
Goodness. Oh, yeah.
I
Good for
am.
you.
Nice.
my
you.
dear sweet husband, also a fellow classmate who wanted me to say he's really upset he's not here today.
Oopsies.
Both him and my mom. My mom was like,
Oh.
I was supposed
Oh,
to be on that podcast. So she's waiting by the phone.
next time.
Yeah.
Next time.
Oh, sorry, Gigi.
That would be a separate episode. Yeah.
Good. Congratulations on that. That's good. That's going
Yeah.
to be a huge
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
benefit.
I wish you had done that.
No, I don't think you do.
So
I'd
we'll
be in
see.
if so, I would be in a blank office surrounded by
You could
white
have
walls
That's
all
like
true.
Molly is.
this. Yeah.
All right. Here's another one. Okay. Um, the ritualistic burning of class notes in a bonfire at the end of med school. Was that helpful?
Yes. Very helpful.
Yeah, I
Very
agree.
cathartic. Yeah.
That was nice. We had this huge bonfire, and some people threw their white coats.
Yeah.
I chose
And books,
I
I
chose
think.
not to do that
Uh-huh.
because I obviously needed it in my TikToks like 10 years later. Did you burn your white coat?
No, we still have both of ours. We're packing up to
Yeah?
move and like pulled it out of a box, and there's some like weird stains on it that like
Oh,
so we just put it
could
right
be
back
anything
in the
at
box.
that point.
Yeah. That was like very like it was a good closure to whatever chapter
Yeah.
we were on. Then that meant that you could also just forget everything that you just learned.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the best part.
I saw that happen in real time.
You did. Okay, here's one. Going to class. Just in general.
Ooh.
Was that helpful?
Yes, for me. Yes.
In hindsight, I would say no.
Okay.
I think I just didn't
You don't
learn as well.
I
I need
how to say
repetition.
this?
I need repetition.
Well, and also you don't like people.
No, that's
You
not
prefer
it. That's not
you
it.
prefer to learn on your own
I
in
do.
your own way,
Mm-hmm.
and class is not that.
Yeah,
So people have different learning styles. That's
that's
fine.
true.
Yeah.
Group projects are tough for me.
But we did
I'm
do-
dying inside doing this group project. No, I'm just
I was gonna say,
Anyway.
I feel like we did some group studying. I feel like we did some of that.
we did a little bit of that. Yes,
there
yes,
was-
and I hated every single second of it. No.
Well, there was the because you have a unique head of hair, and
Mhm.
Yes.
I feel like there was this one time where we went to go like meet up in the library, and there was some guy sitting down. I just saw like a big curly head of hair, and so like I did a very normal thing and like snuck up to him and just went. I thought it was you.
Oh no.
Some undergrad terrifyingly turns around. I was like, welcome to Dartmouth.
That was the first day.
Right. So we
Turns
didn't
out
study
there are
together.
other people that have my hairstyle. Amazing.
I should have known you
Oh,
weren't at the
man.
library. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that was the first thing.
Okay. All right. Here's another one. Learning how to do a gram stain. Was that helpful?
Not helpful.
Not helpful.
Not
I agree.
helpful. Yeah.
We physically, we were in the lab and we had a day where we just learned how to do a gram stain. Now, why did we do that,
Right.
Molly?
Although
Or maybe the pathologists among you would.
No.
No,
That's
not even them.
maybe them. Maybe them.
Yeah, I mean, in my current job, sometimes I do look under the microscope at slides of cells, but I don't gram stain any of them. So
You don't do that yourself. Okay.
Again,
don't.
that is what undergrads are
Yeah.
for,
Yeah, exactly.
which is probably
They're
really why you were doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Let's see. Okay, a couple more. Here's one. A scored step 1 score.
Oh,
Like a numeric step 1 score.
yeah, hot topic. Yes, because that is how my husband and I figure out who is superior.
Still to this day,
Actually,
Excellent
we
point.
after both
actually
of you have forgotten all of it.
no, we actually made a vow. It was like one of our wedding vows that we would never look at each other's step one scores.
It's so weird. It's so funny.
But
You
yeah,
know, it's interesting. Like so at first I was like, oh, this is a great, because I remember how like awful like the anxiety surrounding like how well you do on step one, especially like I wanted to do ophthalmology. It was like I know I got to score like really high on this test, and so my answer like would have been no. Scored step one wasn't helpful because it just made me crazy.
mhm.
But now hearing about like students' experience with like admissions and going to residency, all that anxiety is now just transferred to step two.
Yeah, yeah.
And now they're like in the middle of clinical rotations and having to like score really high on step two. So I don't even know what to do. I don't
Super
even know what the right
stressful.
answer is.
Yeah. But I mean, and our testing center was like, I don't know where you took it, but it was like in the middle of New Hampshire somewhere. Like,
Oh yeah, we had to drive like an hour.
yeah,
And
super
Yeah,
I think it
like
was
far.
Concord.
Nashua.
It was
Oh,
Concord.
okay.
It
Maybe
was
Concord.
Concord.
Well,
Yeah.
wherever I was, I remember there was like a motorcycle rally, like maybe like a 48-hour long motorcycle rally.
Right
So
outside
like
the
I
door.
hadn't slept, yeah, for like 3
Oh my
days. And
God.
I remember like this score is gonna determine my life. So,
Let's do it.
motorcycles and all, let's do it.
All right. Here's one. Opening your match day envelope in front of hundreds of people.
Okay.
Was that
Okay.
helpful? I think I know the answer to this.
I
Yeah.
remember
Oh
this
my
day.
God. Not helpful. Because
I think people would be surprised to learn before I know you have a story to tell there, but before we get into that, I think are often surprised when I tell them this. Like the way
yeah.
it worked at our school was there was an auditorium full of people, and every student
Again, it was a small class.
all 80 of us would one by one go up and open our envelope, learning for the first time where we were matching in front of everybody.
And not only you're seeing it, but then you say it to
Yeah.
everybody.
Uh-huh.
Or
Or
you-
just throw up. Yeah.
Or you
Yeah.
throw up.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's the other option.
So go ahead.
Yeah. And like I don't know why we watched our match day video the other, like, have them all on our phones now, but you would also put $1 in, remember the fishbowl?
Yeah, I remember the
And then
dollar.
whoever was
Whoever
at the
had to go
end
last.
got to like
Yeah.
have all the money.
That's right.
But I did not match at my first choice, to be honest. And I think that this is probably something that like deserves a little bit more transparency. Like a lot of people say, match first choice, yada yada yada. But for me, the match worked. I wanted to be out in Seattle for my intern year and then matched in Chicago, which actually ended up being like the perfect place for me. And I was devastated after match day, actually. And I remember our like sweet dean knew where I wanted to be. Like she had, found out the night before. And so put my name at the very, very bottom so that I would get that crazy email before my name got called. So she was like being so kind. So I read the email and then I think I ran away.
You did.
You did, yeah.
We were like, where did Molly go?
What's
Because
wrong?
like all of us in medicine and like in sort of these high performing academic environments, like we're so used to like every step along the way, like things going exactly to plan and like having these sort of external like markers of success. And so like having something feel like a failure and like a very public failure because that everybody knows or everybody wants to go, especially in like a small class, and get my now husband, who is an intern out in Seattle, had like traded away his life to be able to like get a red eye and fly out to New Hampshire to surprise me. Like it was just like very like emotional. So I ran away.
So that was double layered, right? Like you wanted to be there at that program, but you also wanted to be there because that's where, your now husband was at the time. So
Yeah.
it was like a delayed couples match, but gone wrong,
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had like a good long cry in the shower. and then went
In
to
front
all.
of everyone. No.
Yeah.
That's also
Right.
part of the ritual. Here's the crying shower, and here's the fishbowl of money. And then,
Do you remember? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
but then we had all these awesome match day parties, and
Yes,
then I don't
it
remember.
made you feel better.
Yeah, made me feel something.
Do you remember though? The walk up music.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you all had to choose a song
So we all chose
to
a
represent
song.
yourselves as you went up there.
When they would call your name, the song would play for like 15 seconds as you're like walking up to the microphone to open your envelope. Do you remember the song you chose?
There was a lot of adrenaline. So I also
Probably not.
probably like running away. Did they just like play my song after I had left?
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't.
Oh, I went to Another One Bites the Dust.
Some really
That was the
sad
default
string music.
Yeah.
sadness song. No, do you remember what I chose?
Some country song.
Yeah, we worked on it because I remember it like working on it with you.
Yeah. It was a really big topic of discussion for several days.
It was a big topic of discussion. I recorded myself narrating myself walking up to the front of the auditorium.
Because of course you did.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I do.
I was singing a cappella, and I tried to find this actually, but I can never find this recording again. I sang a cappella a song about me walking up to the front of the auditorium. That's what it was.
That's actually very funny. That's good job. That's really funny.
Is it though?
It was great, Kristen. It was
yeah.
amazing.
You know, in retrospect, a lot of things are really clicking into place.
We won't even get into the skits. That was a whole other thing.
We're not?
Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, not. Well, that may be a whole. Hey, we don't have time for that. It's a whole nother podcast episode.
You need to bring Dave on for that discussion.
That will be a hotly debated topic.
Absolutely.
I think before I left the house this morning, Dave was like, make sure Will and Kristen know that I was in charge of skits. Just to fuel the fire.
For the record, Molly, tell Dave,
okay,
your wonderful husband, that he was not in charge. He had very little to do with them.
This is going to be on your guys' tombstone.
That's okay.
It was me in charge of med school.
It was me. Yeah.
All right. Do you have any other, was it helpful items?
Oh, gosh.
Molly, do you have any other, was it helpful? Our post-quiz parties.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say the Knoll.
This was very helpful.
How can you not talk about the
we
Knoll?
would have quizzes every 2 weeks, and immediately, we would bring our, beer, alcohol, whatever it was.
Private school. Mm-hmm. It's a private school.
We would
Nobody come at us.
Yeah, we would not bring them into the building, but we had them ready, right? So after we finished our marathon of quizzes, which was several straight hours of quizzes, then we would all gather up our things, and a big group of us would go out to this golf course, secluded area, and we would just decompress and have a nice little party at 10 o'clock in the morning. But it was so much fun. It's just a way. It was like a really big bonding experience.
Yeah, it became a ritual.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the things that we think of so fondly were possible because we were such a small school.
Yeah. Totally.
So I think that's one of the benefits.
And
I think
in the middle of nowhere. So you really had no choice. There was nothing to do in that town.
Yeah.
There was nothing around that town. Mm-hmm. And so
excuse me, have you been to Lebanon, New Hampshire?
May I interest you in Coles, Kristen?
Yes, that's right. That was the extent of the excitement. That and Price Chopper.
Yeah, the Price Chopper.
But that's probably why half of our class is married to itself.
To each other, yes.
That's true. We did. We did have a lot of that.
But yeah, the Knoll, very helpful, I would say.
Yeah.
when you're doing it, you're like, this is so cool. We must look so cool. And then to people like driving by on their like golf carts, like
Yeah.
there's this group of young adults intoxicated at 10 in the morning in a parking lot. Like, we are your
I don't
future
think they thought
doctors.
you looked as cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably also people listening to a podcast might not think that this is cool, but that's okay.
The point is the bonding
Yeah.
experience
Yes,
and
it's
creating these
important.
rituals and traditions and like things to
Yeah.
celebrate and mark the importance of what you're doing because
Right.
you're just working so hard and there's so much competition up until that point and still in med school that having a group of friends that are going through what you're going through and eventizing things
Yeah.
about it, I think
Yeah.
was super helpful for you
And
guys.
yeah,
Definitely.
I think about this a lot, with COVID, that like, groups of med students, residents, like all of these people in various like lines of their training and faculty, like, younger faculty, that we don't have that same sense of community. And how, like, when I think about med school, like that was the thing that I felt like was so special, like it felt like Hogwarts almost, that we
Right.
Mhm.
really knew each other. We were like really there for each other. We did weird things together, but we also like
Yes.
worked hard together, and that I think has made all the difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a break
Aw.
and we'll come right back. All right. We are back with Dr. Molly Taylor. And Molly, I got one more little trip down memory lane for you. The time when Dartmouth Medical School was rebranded to the Geisel School of Medicine at Dartmouth.
Yeah.
This was, I think, what year were we? Second
Who
year, maybe?
knows?
It was
Second or
like
third year.
Yeah, third year maybe.
Yeah. And so basically, Geisel is Dr. Seuss.
Theodore Geisel.
Theodore Geisel. So there's like a huge donation. They got the name on the thing and everything. And I don't know if you remember this, Molly, but the administration begged us, please do not refer to this school as the Dr. Seuss School of Medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And of course we did every chance we got.
Like, what else are you gonna do? Yeah.
It's good. And then what I thought was very funny was that they were telling us not to do this, yet they had at like the big ceremony, they had like a ice sculpture of the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, and like Cat in the Hat hats, right? Like the
Yeah,
tall,
exactly.
the tall hats.
Yeah, mixed messages
Yeah.
from
Mixed
the administration.
messages. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
We were and we're also so worried. It's like, oh man, we came in as Dartmouth Medical.
Right.
Now our diplomas are going to say
Dr. Seuss
Geisel,
School of Medicine.
Dr. Seuss School of Medicine. Like no
Right.
one, like we're never going to get jobs.
Or is it pronounced Giselle? Nobody knows, right? Yeah, that was big.
Ended up not being a big deal, but
No.
Right. But even
Another piece, though, that clicks into place now in retrospect. Like, of
Yeah.
course you did.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, and even like, on ERAS, like looking for your school, it was like a
Oh,
big
yeah.
deal to be like, is it Dartmouth or Geisel or both? Or,
Mhm.
like, silly
It's really
things like
a
that.
requirement for med students to overthink things.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's how you get
Right.
in.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man,
Uh,
I gotta stop telling like.
Yeah, probably no one cares at this
Well,
point. Is anyone still listening?
I hope they are. I have had a great time. So here, let's do this. Let's jump to our listener mailbag. All right. So this is where we share a story from one of our listeners. We'll have Molly listen in on this with us. So this is coming from Leah. She says, I am a cardiac and vascular surgery nurse in Minnesota. A few years ago, we were seeing a very nice woman that needed multiple procedures done. I spent extra time teaching and going over everything from her AFib ablation procedure to her thoracobifemoral bypass and multiple new medications, etc. As she was understandably very overwhelmed and tearful at times. At the end, she thanked me and told me how much better she felt about everything and even gave me a hug. It was such a profound moment where you stop and the clouds open. You realize this is the reason why you get out of bed and do what you do to help others. Anyway, it was the end of the day, so I was heading out to my car. I was late for an appointment, so I had to hurry and quickly did a once over in the mirrors before starting to back up, but apparently I didn't look good enough. I backed right into my patient's car, the one that I had just had this intense interaction with
Oh,
moments
no.
before. I felt, for some reason, I can picture Molly doing this. I don't know. I felt so bad and was so embarrassed. One more headache for this poor lady to deal with while she was going through all these problems. Luckily, there was little damage, and everyone was very nice about it. One of my most embarrassing moments.
Whoa.
It's a bummer.
That's, I'll let the wind out of your sails a bit.
That's a real
She
bummer.
goes from thanking her to you just backed into my car.
Yeah, well,
Yikes.
yeah. It's probably generated enough goodwill.
Yeah.
So, send us your stories, knockknockhi@human-content.com. Molly, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Always a
guys.
pleasure to talk with you. What are the kiddos doing while you're here?
Well, my 3-year-old, is obsessed with your daughters, so
Yes.
she's probably thinking about them right now. Just passing the time thinking about them.
That's good.
It is very cute to get them together, and
Oh,
the
yeah, the
3-year-old
kids-
follows our 11-year-old around
They
like
love
a
each
little
other.
puppy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
If
very
you
sweet.
need
Well-
a pet for the weekend, let me know.
Let's talk also about, before you go, about your research that you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not going to describe it because
Please try. Yeah.
no, definitely not. But I think it's fascinating stuff. So tell everybody what you're doing.
Yeah. So what I do in my research life is try to understand how stress, sort of broadly defined, and resilience, broadly defined, kind of filter into the body to impact outcomes in cancer. And I think, we can think about how, quality of life and other mental health outcomes are really important. And I'm trying to understand sort of at the cellular level, sort of what does stress and resilience do to influence cancer outcomes. So,
Awesome.
yeah, we're looking at biomarkers, we're looking at wearable devices, just really trying to, understand how your mind changes your body when it comes to cancer.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very similar to what I was doing in grad school, actually. I'm not cancer specific, but yeah, the mind and body stuff. I was doing psychophysiology. And that's funny.
And you got
Things
a
come
little
full circle.
you got a little team.
I got a
you
little
got some.
team. Yeah, we've
got a
got
little team?
some great people out here doing this work. And then, because this is a small field, so I work with a couple people around the country. But I think even like one of my time capsule verbal sort of predictions was somebody said, you're going to do something that like not very many people think is important, but a couple people will think it's really cool.
Gee, thanks.
Thanks, bud.
Was Will one of the people that
I
said
don't know.
that?
I have no idea.
That will remain anonymous.
Oh my God.
But
And also, do you have any social media presence you want to promote,
I do. I think
or are you keeping it secret?
I believe actually in this sort of like grassroots viral phenomenon. I want people to really like follow me in person and not follow me.
Yeah.
You'd like a stalker, is what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Exactly. That's exactly what she's
That's
saying.
what I'm looking for. Actually, I think the video that I made for you for your birthday one year, do you remember, with the cat and the glass?
Oh, the cat lady.
That is a video I think probably that could have, skyrocketed
Oh
me
yes.
to
Oh, I do remember
viral.
that.
You were just too
Okay.
soon. You were ahead of
Right.
your time.
Well, when we release this episode, we'll add that video into it.
To my 261 followers. So shout out to you all. But I'm at Molly Taylor MD on Twitter.
All right. Well, Molly, thank you again, and it's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We'll see you soon. So wonderful to talk with Molly, and just to have an interaction with a friend you maybe not have seen for like a year, even if you haven't talked to him for an extended period of time, you just jump right back into it. It's
just pick up right where you left off.
Yeah.
And
One of the best things I think about even though there's so many like really tough and sometimes terrible things about medical education and training, is you develop this tight bonding with groups of people, right? So
Yeah. Yes, that's trauma bonding. So I don't know that I would encourage it, but it does happen and it is effective.
yeah, med school, residency,
Grad school.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're going through this very, I guess, traumatic experience and with people, and you become friends for life. So for better or worse, that's the way it is. So let us know what you thought of the episode. Do you like going down memory lane with us about our things? We could do one for you in grad school. I'm sure that would be.
No one wants to hear about that.
There's some fireworks at your graduate program, so that might not necessarily be an exciting, fun episode.
No.
But, you know. Anyway, if you have any other ideas for episode topics or guests, you can let us know. Hit us up. knockknockhi@human-content.com. We also have social media accounts all over the place. You can reach out to us there. You can also hang out with us in our Human Content Podcast family on Instagram and TikTok at Human Content Pods. Thank you to all the listeners, everybody leaving wonderful feedback and reviews. We love those. Thank you so much. If you subscribe and comment on your favorite podcasting app or on YouTube, we can give you a shout out, like at Princess. It's like someone who's into printing.
Mm-hmm.
Who's
Well,
also
maybe
a
they
bit of
are.
a princess.
Because look what they say.
Princess on YouTube said, "I'm not in the medical field, but I'm addicted." We'd love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I'm always a little confused by that, but I'm appreciative.
Why people outside of healthcare and medical field listen to anything we have to say?
Well, me, sure, but you, I don't know.
Well, you're not in the medical field. Maybe they bond with you that way.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We also have all these episodes up on YouTube, full episodes every week on my YouTube channel at Glaucomflecken. I also have a Patreon, lots of cool perks, bonus episodes where we react to things, hang out with other members of the community. Knock Knock Hi community, we're there.
Q&As.
Yeah, live stream events, a lot. Ad-free episode access. It's great stuff over there. Patreon.com/Glaucomflecken or go to Glaucomflecken.com. Speaking of Patreon community perks, shout out to all the Jonathans as always. Patrick, Lucia C, Sharon S, Omar, Edward K, Stephen G, Roskbox, Jonathan F, Marion W, Mr. Granddaddy, Caitlin C, Brianna L, Dr. J, Chaver W, Jonathan A, Leah D, KL, Rachel L, and Ann P.
Was that all in one
I
breath?
did it.
Nice.
I've got very healthy,
Capacity.
robust lung capacity. Absolutely. Patreon roulette, random shout out to somebody in the emergency medicine tier of Patreon. Shout out to Sophie B. Sophie B for being a patron. Thank you, Sophie B.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you all for listening. We're your hosts, Will and Kristen Flannery, also known as the Glaucomfleckens. Special thanks to our guest today, Dr. Molly Taylor. Our executive producers are Will Flannery, Kristen Flannery, Aaron Corney, Rob Goblin, and Shanti Burka. Editor and engineer is Jason Portizo. Our music is by Omer Binsfee. To learn about our Knock Knock Highs, submission verification of licensing terms, program disclaimer and ethics policy, and HIPAA release terms. I switched up. Did you see that?
Oh, no, I wasn't listening to
Yeah,
you.
you'd probably never listen when I do this part. You can go to Glaucomflecken.com. I'm just trying to make it interesting. And reach out to us at knockknockhi@human-content.com with any medical puns, concerns, or questions.
There, I did notice you changed the order.
Knock Knock Hi is a human content production.
Knock, knock. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen, or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Hope you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.